Welcome to Divorce, Dating, and Empowered Living with your host, Rosalind Sedacca. Join Rosalind each week on a journey toward overcoming life's many challenges to achieve peace, empowerment, and positive transformation. It's time to relax, unwind, and transform your life with Rosalind Sedacca.
Hello, everyone. This is Rosalind Sedacca, and you're listening to WGSN-DB, the Going Solo Network, and our show is Divorce, Dating, and Empowered Living with Rosalind Sedacca. And I'm very excited to introduce you to our guest today because she has a different twist on topics related to divorcing and co-parenting, which, as you know, is a big part of what we talk about every week. And I think you're going to be very interested in learning more about what she's doing. So her name is Fiona Kong, and she's a single mom to a 5-year-old boy, and she's been co-parenting for the past 3 years and is the founder of the Home Sweet Homes Journal. So welcome, Fiona.
Hi, Rosalind. Thank you so much for having me.
Well, it's a pleasure. I spoke to you, and I was very impressed with what you've put together, and it's called the Home Sweet Homes Journal, and I wanted to start by asking you who you put this journal together for.
I, of course, made it for my son. When my son's dad and I separated, this was when my son was 2.5, and you know, I think it's just such a hard and confusing time for everyone involved, and one of the big things in my heart, you know, as he was going back and forth between homes was like, you know, I wondered, like, what is he doing there? Like, what's happening? But most importantly, how does he feel? And I found that, you know, that there were just such few resources made for the children. And I think you can attest to that as well, given what you do.
Absolutely. I love the fact that you're focusing this on the children, and I agree that parents don't have as many resources as you would think. Parents who are facing divorce, going through divorce, having been divorced for several years, they don't have a lot of resources that are designed and geared for the children. So this is really wonderful. Tell us about how you were inspired to create the Home Sweet Homes Journal.
Yeah, as I was saying, you know, my child was going back and forth between homes, and even though my son's dad and I actually have a good relationship, but I still felt like there was a lot of things missing, you know, when we would talk, and we would talk after each transition. So we talked often, and even though, you know, we filled each other in, it's like you don't get those little details, like, you know, is what he does on a day-to-day basis, like what is he eating, just those little, you know, that's his life, and I really was curious, and I care about what's going on. So when I started this, it just started off as a little planner. I bought this $2 planner from a dollar store, and I started using it as a shared family diary. So when my son was with me, I would just write in whatever happened during our day, and then I'd pass it along to my son's dad, and luckily he agreed, and he would fill it out as well. So it just became like this back and forth journal that, you know, we just came to love because it was like an unobtrusive way for us to get information and stay in touch with our child without, like, you know, being in each other's, like, you know, like constantly texting or calling each other, right? Like it was just like, he's at my home now, and this is what we fill out. And then he goes to his dad's house, and that's what we fill out. So yeah, after I used it for like a week, and I was like, oh my gosh, I love this so much. So I was inspired to create a more fleshed out version that's truly meant for children living in two homes. And so it includes a lot more robust features, like, you know, there's a section for like all about me. So it's like their favorite things. It has their handprint and then a picture of themselves. Each month begins with monthly affirmations, because I think it's so important that, you know, we're not parenting across, you know, in one household, and I didn't grow up like believing in myself, you know, and I was wondering with children of divorce if they I often hear they blame themselves or, there's all these internal things going on. So I incorporated affirmations like, I am loved, I am enough, I can do hard things. From there, it has a monthly and weekly calendars, so they know where they're going. My son always has this tool with him, so he can go in the book and see, what the day is. And he's 5 now, so he can do it all by himself. And he's like, okay, I'm with, mom or dad today. And then it has like a little daily feelings exercise. So every night there's like these little faces, and he just circles all the ones he feels. And sometimes he feels happy and sad and angry, and he talks about it. And then the last thing I'll say is like it has like the medical history, emergency contacts, and the address book, because I feel like usually one parent has that information and one of them usually doesn't. And I also wanted the child to have access to this information. So because the book is with the child always, like the custodial parent and the child always has access to it.
Wow. I love the concept. I love the thoughtfulness that you put into it. It makes so much sense. And I think it's great that you also consider the children's self-esteem, their emotional components, the psychological impact of divorce on kids with 2 homes. And this is a great way for kids as young as yours started, 2.5, to move on. And as they get older, as you can well see now that he's 5, that they do more and more. They ask more questions, and this is all still important for them. So I think it's really great. What age groups did you design this for?
So it's targeted really towards elementary school. I feel like that's when they can really use it. Although with my son, we kind of used, my own version when he was like 3. And, they're still absorbing. We're still reviewing our day. We're still talking about things. It's just, it grows with a child. He's able to fill out more and more, as the weeks and months go by. So I think it's just such a great tool for, kids to develop all the skills that, they're reading, writing, and, emotional awareness, things like that.
Excellent. I especially love the fact that it's traveling with the child or the children from home to home, because that's where they get the continuity of life in co-parenting, which is so important. And I stress that in the Child-Centered Divorce Network, that continuity. So if you can get both parents to care enough to do this and ask the same questions or review the notes from the other day and make comments, then you're giving the children the awareness, sorry about that, the awareness that life goes on, life continues, and that there's things that will happen in both houses, and that both parents are interested in these same things. So it stays with the children, and it grows with them, because one of the most important components of co-parenting after divorce is that continuity, to know that there was a past, there's a present, and there's going to be a future. And this ties so well into creating the future and designing things to anticipate and look forward to and reflect on what I learned from today's experience. So I commend you. I think it's beautifully thought out and a really smart tool. And I'm curious as to what you noticed in your child after using this tool.
Yeah. So my son, his name is Emil, and he was not very expressive, I guess, like in terms of just like talking or, being very like verbal or talking, much less talking about his feelings. So when I got my version, it was when it was finally produced, and it had the little faces. So there's 5 faces for each day. And, if kids can't talk about it, they're probably internalizing it some way else, right? So he has this little exercise, and it's like, how do you feel? He's able to circle it, of course. Like, I think most children would be able to do that. It's a very simple tool. And, at first he was just like circling it, and it was kind of a little, I wouldn't say difficult, but he wasn't really opening up. But since we've been doing this for over a year now, he's prepared. Like every night we sit in bed and he pulls out the journal. I don't even have to ask him. He opens it up and he'll be quiet and he'll just like circle the ones, and sometimes he'll circle 3 or 4. Sometimes he'll circle just one. But then he just automatically tells me. So it's like, I was, sad today because you didn't let me watch, enough TV or something. So it's just little things that, that he has thought about. He has put some thought about what he felt during the day, and he tells me. And that, I feel like it's just so important because, right, we always want our children to tell us no matter what. There's no bad emotion. It's just the ability to say something and have, his dad and I help him process or work through a problem or issue. So that, that developing the emotional intelligence is by far the thing that I'm most proud of. The second one is the affirmations because, each month, as I said, has a theme. And there was one month when the theme was I learned from my mistakes. And there was a day where I was actually really upset about something, and I just, it showed on my face, and I was like in a bad mood. And then he was like, "What's wrong, Mama?" And then I told him what happened. It was a mistake. And he actually said it to me. He said, "It's okay, Mama, you learn from your mistakes," or something like that. And It was just like, wow. He was listening, he's absorbing, and it's becoming part of his language. And that was such a proud moment for me because I was like, like it made a mistake seem so trivial, but I was just like, wow, this made me just so happy that he's, becoming this little person that believes it.
Yes, he's grasping the messages. I think that's wonderful and beautiful that what you're doing is reinforcing the fact that letting our kids know that they matter, that they count, that what they feel counts. Too many adults dismiss what kids are feeling and don't think because they're so young that those feelings really matter, but they are molding the future child, and it's very important for kids to know that they matter at any phase and stage in their life. So I commend you for this because I think it's definitely on the right track and something that I would highly recommend to coaching clients in the divorce arena. So thank you so much for doing that.
Oh, thank you. It's such a honor coming from someone like you who has been in the arena and, probably has heard and talked and seen everything, right? So I just really appreciate your perspective because, when ultimately when I think about my why of why I created this, of course it's to help, children and the co-parents better handle the situation after divorce and separation. But, deep down it's to help heal childhood trauma so that they grow up to be healthy adults.
There you go.
We all have our trauma, right? From
Absolutely.
Our own childhood. Yeah.
Yes. So this is a real tool that parents can be proud to use. We're going to take a quick break. We've been talking to Fiona Kong, who's the creator of the Home Sweet Homes Journal, and you're listening to WGSN-DB, the Going Solo Network, Divorce, Dating, and Empowered Living with Rosalind Sedacca, and we'll be right back.
Hello, I'm Cece Schatz, and I'd like to welcome you to Going Solo Network, #1 complete singles connection. We strive to connect singles in a positive and fun way. Together, singles will begin to make new and lasting friendships, learn more about themselves, and embrace our new today lifestyle of going solo. Being single doesn't mean you have to be alone, and you can live a full, fun life, bringing your vibration to a higher level of attraction. Going Solo Network is an interactive social support singles community with several platforms helping singles connect with other like-minded individuals. We cover things like relationship loss, divorce recovery, embracing being single, single parenting, restructuring relationships, relationship building, transition into dating, and dating itself. solo in business, and going solo travelers. Be sure to join our private and exclusive fun interactive websites designed for singles today who want to begin to embrace living and enjoying the space they're in. Together we will learn to open our hearts, our minds. We will begin to share and connect with others while exploring our personal life goals as we begin to make a place in our new life. We will start to move forward in going solo to actually living our best lives. Going solo doesn't mean you have to be alone. Today, together, let's begin changing your life. Today, join the singles at Going Solo Network and start to live your new life. I'll see you there on GoingSoloNetwork.com.
And we're back. This is Rosalind Sedacca with Divorce, Dating, and Empowered Living on WGSN-DB, the Going Solo Network. Thank you for joining us. And we are talking to Fiona Kong, who is the creator of the Home Sweet Homes Journal. And Fiona, I wanted to ask you about how the tool has affected or has it affected your relationship with your co-parent?
Yeah, that's a great question. When we split up, it was a very business-like relationship. Like, we weren't like chummy or, but it was okay. I think using this tool has just given me, and, he will say the same thing, has given us perspective into each other's lives when we're with our child. And that matters so much because, you want to stay in touch. You want to know what's going on. And to see my co-parent using this, I'm so proud of him, and it just makes the whole relationship better because I still feel like we are a team. We are doing this together, despite the situation. We're both doing it in the interest of our child. I love seeing the sweet things that he writes, It's always interesting to see right from their perspective, what they're going to say. And I think dads can write funny things sometimes. But I love knowing that, how they're bonding. So it's really just kept us in tune with each other. Someone said to me really recently, I was telling them about this book, and she's like, it's like an invisible umbilical cord for your family. I was like, wow. That's a beautiful way to put it. So I definitely feel like it has helped our family. It's just like this communication tool that you don't get anywhere else, right? Where when you're writing and you're sharing, I think it just brings peace. And when my child is at peace, I feel at peace, right? So,
that makes a lot of sense. And I know, I recommend to many co-parents to use the online co-parenting scheduling tools because they reduce conflict and tension between co-parents who can't talk and communicate and will get on the phone and have a fight about what happened 3 months ago. So it's good for them to have ways of communicating beyond the telephone. But this is a tool that I'm recommending for a different reason. It's not to reduce conflict, but it's to actually embrace the partnership, the co-parenting relationship, and strengthen it. And children really pick up when co-parents get along well, and children really benefit and get great value from a co-parenting relationship that works because it just reduces tension in their lives. So if you can do something with your co-parent where you're both clearly on board to honor and protect your children in the most positive ways and affirming their values so that they could see that both parents love and adore them and want the best for them, then that's a wonderful step for their future, regardless of their age, regardless of how long you've been divorced and are co-parenting. And it can heal a lot of wounds, too. So I'm very enthusiastic about the value and benefits of this tool. I also was curious as to what you say to parents who may be on the fence or hesitant about using something like this.
Yeah. So I actually had someone where they're like, they have a great co-parenting relationship, and so he felt like it wasn't something they needed. So for those people, I would say that even though you have a great relationship with your co-parent, this really isn't for you guys. It's for your child. It's a way for them to have a safe space to, express themselves and for you to be let in, right? Like, I think as a child gets older, like right now we're doing all the writing because my son is 5, but when your child gets to like 7, 8, and they don't necessarily, they may not talk to you. Like, don't you still want to stay connected and get to know them? That's why I feel like I hope we will always continue this. So that's what I say to parents who are like, we have a great co-parenting relationship. Like, this builds up, your child's resilience and self-esteem. It helps them know what's going on because, usually they don't have like a co-parenting app, right? Like where they're like, and they always ask like, what's my schedule? Where are my appointments? But it's all in the book, right? Like it's a utility tool as well as being something that provides mental and emotional support. And for those that have a more contentious or, contentious relationship, I would say that it's still possible to use it. But I think if things will be used against the other parent in the context, like if you're not able to, I don't have that relationship. So everything my ex writes in here, it's fine with me, right? But I know that there are other relationships where they're like, oh, you saw this person or you went here. Like, I could see it kind of going sideways a little bit, but, I would say try to keep this in the mind for the child. But you can also, instead of writing about what is happening in your household, you could answer journal prompts like, what do you want to be when you grow up and why? If you were to be an animal, what would you want to be? So I think like questions that are unrelated to home life can still help, you get to know your child and stay connected and just be a part of their life without, and get to know them. So I think there are definitely ways around it. It's a journal. It's very open-ended. There's no right or wrong way to use it.
Is there a place to add family photos if you want to?
Oh, it's so funny. I actually do that. So there are some blank pages at the end of each month as well as at the end of the book. And so at the end of each month, I usually just print out a bunch of little pictures and I make a little scrapbook for my son. So it's been, and I asked my son's dad to send me his pictures. So, because I want him to have a collection of like his highlights from the month. So we use it for that to incorporate, a little scrapbook, and then he also draws in it. So it's nice that it captures that in the month, because I know like most parents, right, have the same problem. Like there's so many pieces of art around the house, and how do you save it, right? So luckily it's all here in the book.
That's excellent. I love that idea, and I strongly advocate the value of family photographs. There's something that just cements the connection that the child has with the parents, with each parent individually, and memories of happy times in their life, and they need to be seeing that and having happy memories to reflect on. So it's wonderful that you're doing that, and I think adding places to draw and all of that, you're allowing for all of the senses to be expressed. So that's just wonderful. I was curious, and we just have a short time before we have to close, but if there's any surprise that you've found from the journal that you weren't anticipating. I think just being able to touch people across the world. Like there was this woman in India that has it, and she left me a voicemail, and she was like, her son's father has started using it, and she was just starting to tell me about the relationship and how it's, it's really affecting someone else's relationship with their son and the son's relationship with his father, for, perhaps for the rest of their life.
like, to think how something I made just help us is going beyond just my family to help really heal other people in the world is honestly the most rewarding thing I could have ever asked for. If I can help just one other family, you know, like
I understand totally.
Yeah,
totally get that. I felt the same way with my book on breaking divorce news to the children, and I get that. And you're totally right. You are doing that. Before you leave, I want to ask you to tell us, how do we find the journal?
Yeah,
and you?
Thank you. So my website is homesweethomesjournal.com. My book is also found on Amazon, and I'm primarily on Instagram, and that handle is Home Sweet Homes Journal.
So that's Home Sweet Homes with an S Journal.
Yes.
And so look for that on Amazon and on Instagram and at the website, because I think this is a wonderful tool that you could take advantage of if you have elementary school and younger children. Thank you so much, Fiona Kong. It's been a pleasure talking to you. I'm inspired by the wonderful journal you've put together and happy to share it with other people.
So honored. Thank you so much, Rosalind. I appreciate it.
So, again, you've been listening to Divorce, Dating, and Empowered Living with Rosalind Sedacca. As you know, I'm founder of the Child-Centered Divorce Network. And if you go to childcentereddivorce.com, you'll find my free ebook on co-parenting success strategies, as well as several other ebooks, e-courses, and programs, all designed to help you get through the divorce and co-parenting process in the best possible way for your children. And this is WGSN-DB, the Going Solo Network, and I hope you'll join us next time. Thanks for listening. Bye-bye now.